Yeah, going live, going live. Wow, I haven't been live in a while, like a day or two. Wait, 2 days. So I really haven't figured out when my steady live time is going to be. I don't really know when. It's going to be sometime, sometime. Oh, they're going that way. Sometime. My steady live time is, I don't have one. That's the problem. I don't have a steady live time, and I need to have one, but I don't have one. So when I get one, it'll be good. I mean, I guess they're just giving it away if it's up by the road, right? Does it work? Does the mower work? There's a mower out here. I mean, shit, I'll sell it for $100. It's a machine. It's just sitting there. It's been there for a couple of days. I have to assume that it's being given away. So yeah, it's a busy road here in Connecticut. I want to get across the street. See, the sun is going down. So it's really nice. So it's really nice over there. Right. I'm in Connecticut. So my name is Damon, and I just really wanted to. Wait, I got to get the numbers right. Wait, it's 23, so it's day. Oh, is it really? I mean, I think I'm losing track of the time, but I think it's day 53. How can that be possible? Is it day 53 of my 365-day weight loss journey? It's day 53, and I really, honestly, have not been keeping up with my walking the way I should be, and it's disappointing. But the weather got was very rainy for a few days. So I was not keeping up with the walking at all. Okay. I was not keeping up with it. But the people that don't really know Connecticut or New England or anything, you can see some really nice colors in trees and see like that's really pretty, isn't it? Like that color, red and everything. But my name is Damon. I'm here. I am a 61-year-old obese man, and I'm trying to walk every day so that I can lose the weight I need to lose. And the goal right now is just 5 pounds a month. So it's not that big a deal. 5 pounds a month is only 1.25 pounds a week. That's so easy. So all I'm doing is just drinking water, like about four 16-ounce glasses of water in the morning and by midday that I didn't ordinarily drink, right? And then I'm doing a little bit of the intermittent fasting. So I'm trying to like not really eat. So I don't really eat anything from about 7 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night until about 7 o'clock the next day. So that's about 13 hours, maybe 8 o'clock. That's 14 hours of intermittent fasting. And then, yeah, and I don't know, I think I might increase that time frame. And then I'm trying to walk 2 to 4 miles a day. Very simple, very simple. And I'm just trying not to have as much junk food because I'm like a junk food fanatic. I love everything: pizza, beer, ice cream, candy. I just love everything. So here in Connecticut, we have all the different colors because this is the seasons we have here. And I'm wearing red right now only because this is higher visibility color for walking along a busy road. That's the only reason I'm wearing red. I am not a red person in the United States. I'm not a red political person. I'm a political person, but I'm a blue. I'm a blue political person. I'm not a red. Okay, we go by colors here. It's very simple. Either you're red or you're blue. And that card missed me by about 18 inches just now. Red or blue is what people are. And I'm not red because I'd be a fascist. If I was red, if I was supporting Donald Trump, our horrible president that we have, He is a fascist. Everybody who supports him is a white supremacist and a fascist. At the very least, they're racists. At the very least, anyone who at this point still supports Donald Trump, and you can get mad at me on here, I don't care. But if you still support Donald Trump at this point, you're just a racist because he's doing right now. They're trying to take away, they're trying to get the Supreme Court to take away the vote of the black people. They're trying to get rid of the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. They're trying to get rid of all that stuff. They're tearing down the White House, by the way, and they're tearing down all the things of our government, including the Constitution. They're tearing down the Constitution right now. So if you guys don't understand that, I can teach you all about that because I'm a history. I have my history degree in military history, political science from New York University. Very proud of it. I graduated in 1986. I was supposed to actually be going to the Marines and be a naval aviator, but I chose a different path. I had the scholarship to be a naval aviator in the Marine Corps and everything, but I decided against a Marine aviator, really, but naval area aviator. And in the 80s, I was going to do a Cold War. I got the scholarship, but I had to go to Tulane. Went there for 1 year because I had the scholarship, and then I changed my mind because all my siblings were Vietnam. They were from Vietnam era because I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and I had 3 older brothers, and they all had to deal with Vietnam. And so it was, they didn't want me to do it. Plus, my dad, believe it or not, he was a World War II veteran, and he did not want me to do it either. So he wanted me to not do that, and he was very good at reminding me that I didn't need to do that to pay for college. That he would pay for my college, and so my parents did that. They paid for everybody's college as long as you got through in 4 years. Like I did that with my kids. I told my kids, "Hey, this is the deal. You go through in 4 years, no time off. I'll pay for your whole college." And I'm doing that. I'm doing that. I paid for it with loans, mostly. And anyway, because my one daughter went to a public school. She went to University of Montana, and it was about 20,000 a year that I had to pay. But normally it was like about 36,000 a year. But because she was from Connecticut and she went to University of Montana, they wanted to get her to go there, so they gave her about half off. My other two daughters went to very expensive private schools in New York State, and one of them got basically a full ride for lacrosse, and one of them got a full ride for being a legacy and for a community service scholarship. And they're all doing great, but I still had to pay about, like room and board for all of them. So that was about 25,000 a year for those two. And then for my other daughter in Montana, it was about 16 or 18,000 a year. But basically I took out private Parent Plus loans to do most of that. I did pay some cash. Like I had a really cool car that I sold to help pay for it. And what I want to do is I want to see if the police department will deputize me to stand out here with the speedometer because this is supposed to be 35 miles an hour on this road, and people drive like 60. This guy was just driving 60. It just went by me. And it's like people are literally going to get run over. There was a 74-year-old guy, same age as my brother. My brother's run over in Waterbury, Connecticut yesterday. And he was just trying to cross the street and he got run over. And he's probably going to die. He's in the hospital right now. He's in critical condition. But I mean, it was a hit and run. Driver just kept going. Waterbury is like a cesspool. Waterbury, Connecticut. I don't know. I never knew there were such terrible parts of Connecticut, but Waterbury, Connecticut is just a cesspool. So is Hartford, largely. So is Bridgeport. Hartford's getting better. Bridgeport is pretty much a cesspool. I live along the coast. I've always lived in the coastal Connecticut area. I'm from New Rochelle, New York, Westchester County, just outside the city. That's where I lived for my first 30 years and moved up to Fairfield County, to the part that's commutable to New York City in 1994. So I've lived in Connecticut, coastal Connecticut, for 31 years. And that part of Connecticut's really nice, but I never knew there were trailer parks in Connecticut. I never knew there were like bad school systems in Connecticut. I never knew there were really bad in Connecticut. I never knew there were like bad school systems in Connecticut. I never knew there were really bad towns to live in Connecticut until I moved to the New Haven area. Not that New Haven's bad. It's not as New Haven is just like any other city, mid-sized city, small city. New Haven's actually a great city because it has Yale, it has a lot of really cool things in it, a lot of cool people. I love New Haven actually, but train's going by right now. Train that goes to that train's actually going to New Haven or New York or Boston. But I love it. I love coastal Connecticut. I love it. We used to have a cottage in Old Saybrook, which is not far from here. When my kids were little, for about 10 years, we had a summer cottage there. Everybody loved it. And you can see down there, it's really, the sun's starting to set with all the colors and everything. And I'm just walking over this bridge. This goes right over the train tracks. And they have to elevate the bridge really high. See, see down there, it doesn't seem like much of an elevation, but when you're driving, it's like a 45-degree angle, and you can easily get airborne, like Dukes of Hazard airborne down this hill. Like I had it, I had the big boy Challenger 392 6.4 liter Hemi, and I was driving down here once, and luckily I had the big skid plate underneath, carbon fiber skid plate under there, because they knew it was going to go airborne. Like, yeah, they just built them that way. They knew those cars would get airborne, and sure enough, right there, got airborne one time. It's pretty cool. Little car came down in the back two tires the way it stood if you go airborne. So it was cool. It was a good landing too. It was a good jump and a good landing. Anyway, there's a lot of colonial era houses here that were built in the late 1600s, because the way it worked was you had Boston and New York, and then you had the first settlement between Boston and New York was this town, Old Saybrook, which is right at the bottom of the Connecticut River, which goes all the way up to Canada, the St. Lawrence River, and everything. So that was the first spot the British identified between New York and Boston. They needed to get a fort there because the Native Americans were there. They didn't like it. No one liked it. And the big chief was Sachem. Sachem was the great chief. And they had a battle there, right there in Old Saybrook, right by the Connecticut River meets the saltwater Atlantic Sound, Atlantic Ocean. Old Saybrook, Connecticut. Big battle there with the Indians in like 16, I don't know what the year was, 1632 or 1640 or something like that. And then they did it. As a result of that battle, they did a treaty with the Indians so that, because they really wanted the New Haven Harbor. The British really wanted that New Haven Harbor badly because it's a big, big harbor, big, big harbor. And so in the treaty, they talked the India, they talked the Native Americans into giving up everything that was strategic, basically, that the British wanted for the ships and everything. The Indians didn't really care about that. The Indians, all they really cared about was that on every single river, that every single tidal river that there was along the coast, like the Housatonic and uh, the other different rivers, smaller rivers, that they could have their villages on the west bank so that they could face the sunrise every morning, that they would be able to face the sunrise, that the villages would face sunrise. So this is the little town green here. All these Connecticut towns have a town green, all the ones along the coast, because the British had more influence in how things were set up in the early days, 1600s. These towns were all set up in the 1600s. So there's a town green here. It's like a little park. It's really nice. You can, like a little green oasis. It's along what they call Boston Post Road, which was laid out by Benjamin Franklin, first postmaster general. Of course, the current administration doesn't understand anything like it about government and about how things run, because they're trying to tear it all down and destroy it all. But the postal service is already pretty bad, so I don't know how much worse it could get. But in all these New England towns, they have the same from the Union Army. They have from the Civil War. They all have the same statue. They all have this. They must have used the same mold, but it's pretty much like the same. They have like three different statues but it's all like the same mold. But every town has this kind of statue to the Union war dead, um, and to the Union soldiers that also survived from the Civil War. So the Revolutionary War happened all around here, with little skirmishing with the British troops and the British Navy trying to land Marines and things like that all around here, because it's all coastline. And then some towns were were bombarded, like Westport was bombarded with cannons, and the colonists had some cannons waiting for the British there at Campo Beach. Anyway, so that's further towards New York from here. And right now, this is a really cool, really cool statue here. And then they have the nice flag, and then they have the cool little cannon that, of course, doesn't work. But I think it was probably it was like the cannon kind of cannon on a ship that had like little portholes for the cannons. Then they would roll around. They'd shoot, and then they'd roll back, and then they could reload it. So yeah, so this is the town green, really pretty. And so this is Route 1, Boston Post Road. This goes from really, I think it goes from Key West now. Originally it was New York to Boston, but now it's like Key West all the way up to Maine. And this is part in Connecticut. So little shopping center over there. Just, actually there was a place over there where Lafayette stopped, right down there on the right. I'll do a different time. There's a place that Lafayette, when he came after the Revolutionary War, Lafayette went back to France, but then he came back much later on, like 20 or 30 years later. He came back to America and wanted to visit America and see, how things had turned out. So he did that. Lafayette came back and he actually visited right over here, about 3 doors down from that house, right over there is a house where Lafayette visited on his tour of America when he came back in like the 1820s. Maybe it was the 1830s. I forget. He was pretty old by then. He's pretty old. Yeah, I forget exactly when he came back. That's a textbook like huge oak tree here, giant oak tree. Say that one right there. That might be a red oak, although it could be a pin oak or a red oak. But I had this house, I had this property I had in Darien, Connecticut. I had a giant oak tree on each. It was basically a square. It was like a half-acre square, and on each middle of each side of the property, we had a giant oak tree. We had two pin oaks that have little tiny leaves, and we had two red oaks, and they have gigantic leaves. It could be like the size of your head. Anyway, I think that might. I think I'm not sure if that's a pin oak. I'd have to just. The red oaks get much more massive, so the trunks. I don't know. I'm looking at it right now and trying to look at the leaves, but it's hard to tell from a distance until you get up close. And now I can see that it's a pin oak. It's a pin oak. It's a beautiful tree, but it obviously had some branches taken off. But yeah, I'm gonna head back up. Look at that. That's another real big oak tree over there. What a big oak tree. That's a beautiful little, like a little inn. And these are little salt boxes up here. They're called salt boxes. These are little old houses that some of them are on the historical landmarks, list. But anyway, I'm just here talking and yapping. But yeah, salt box. They're called salt box colonials. These little ones. You can always tell if they're really old because they have one of the dead giveaways is the chimney in the center. That's always a dead giveaway of how old a house is because probably in the 1900s they started building houses without, well, maybe a little later than that, probably after World War II, without the chimneys in the center because the chimney was always a source of heat, right? Of heating. So I'm not sure why this guy is beeping at me. Maybe he thinks I'm going to cross the road, but I wouldn't do that. See, this one has a chimney in the middle. That one is obviously an older one too. It's got the chimney in the middle, but like that one is an inn down there with the flag. Guy's pretty cool. He's a combat, the Purple Heart combat. Not like some people just get medals because certain other people want to give them medals because they can. But some of them have the year on them. They're all like 1670 something. Anyway, I'm gonna get going now, guys. Listen, have a great night. Okay, take care.